in the real estate business for the last 25 years, both as a real estate agent, owns a development company and a transaction management company. So he's pretty well versed with, how to help agents leverage their time. And for anyone who wants to know any embarrassing stories about Brad, feel free to grab me after and I'd be happy to share those. So anyway, without further ado, I will turn the time over to Brad Morgan.
So Joel talks about embarrassing stories, but he was on a pedal bike and broke his neck and his knee and his ankle. So it wasn't me, Joel. All right. So this people leveraging can be a pretty dry topic, human capital, if you will. So we're going to try and make it very interactive, ask questions, go through it. We want to get feedback from those that have maybe been in the business a bit longer to help those that have been in the business a shorter amount of time, especially going into the market shift. I think learning how to, a large portion of people leverage is deciding if you're going to spend the money, cut costs, do stuff like that. So the reason that I chose this topic is because Joel and I and his brother, I don't know if Ryan's here, but he's our model home agent. We try and achieve people leverage at a very high level, meaning we're any given year between 80 and 100 million in production. We have 110 condos being built, 60 on the way. We have a 20,000 foot Keller building going in Mapleton, 8,000 foot Keller building coming in Lehigh, 2 spec homes up in Park City, and we have 0 salaried staff. So we just do it all ourselves, or we leverage out to people that will make it easy for us so that we don't have to be bound to that payroll as the market kind of softens up. So with that being said, first question to kick this off that we need some feedback. Curtains, I did that myself. I'm pretty good at these. So pretty tech savvy. That's about as much as I got there. I didn't even know how to shut the music off. All right. So 1 + 1 = 3. How? Who wants to give me some feedback? How can 1 + 1 = 3, either in your personal life or in business?
Mike here. It's called synergism, and where you have
Synergy. That's good. Yeah. All right. Keep going. Good job.
It's where, you can achieve more by working with someone else than what you could ever achieve on your own here. And that's the concept, I guess, behind this here.
Okay, perfect. So he just hit this up right here, right? Divine synergy is a phenomenon of 2 or more people getting along and benefiting one another. An example, combination of energy, sources, talents, efforts equal more than the sum of the parts. It's possible to describe this phenomenon as the expression of 1 + 1 = 3, meaning you can add technology to that. You can add people to that. You can add a brokerage to that. You can add a lot of different things to get that to that point. But that's one thing for Joel and I that we talk about all the time. We discuss all the time on all of our business ventures. We have other things that we do. But when we're looking to spend money that we've made and paid maybe taxes on, we're very careful on where we spend our money, where it goes, what money are we going to get back from spending that money. So I feel like for us in our business partnership, most of the things that we try and strive at get to this level here. And if we can't, then we probably just don't do it. So if you are looking to hire a person or an allied resource that we'll talk about, like a partner in your company or something, and you don't see that equaling 3, 1 + 1 = 3, then you probably need to revisit it. Or if you have an admin and you're like, I feel like it's maybe there, maybe not, you should look at that situation. If you've got a buyer's agent and you're like, I just don't feel like I'm getting more productivity out of that person than I normally would be getting out of it, then you probably need to look at that relationship a little bit stronger and see if it's there, because you should be shooting for this. For sure, you should not be shooting for that. So I've had that experience multiple times. I don't know if anybody here has had this experience where you hire another person and it seems like you're still doing all the work. Has anybody had that happen ever on a hire? Yep. It sucks so bad. Like I've had that. And you have to now go through like, okay, I looked at the resume, I looked at everything. I've hired this person that maybe is a buyer's agent or is, like I said, a transaction coordinator, an admin, or someone that's supposed to make your life better. You've hired them, all of a sudden you're getting projects back on your plate. You're getting stuff that comes back to you that you shouldn't be getting. Hey, I need you to go and do this for me. And then half of it's done and you get it back, which makes it harder than doing it on your own. So as you're going through it and as you're thinking about this class today, you need to really self-reflect on this on everybody in your business. This could be a mortgage company. It could be a title company. This could be anybody that's giving input to your business or that you're pulling into your business. They should be enhancing that. Joel.
One thing I want to clarify on this is that person may not always be the person that gets you to the 3. They may just simply take that task that you hate to do, take it off your plate and allow you to focus on things that you love. And that's how you get to that 3. They may not be the person that's giving you the return on investment necessarily, but they allow you to do things that give you a return on your energy. It may not always be a return on money, but it could be a return on energy, return on time. And so I would just say you need to quantify what that 3 is. What are you looking for? Are you looking for that 3 to be money? Are you looking for that 3 to be, now I have a flexible schedule, I can go to my kids' soccer games? So I think it's different for everyone.
So I agree with that. So that's a good point. That's something else I forgot to point out is with Joel and I, even with what we have going with not having a bunch of payroll, we're still bound to, we're committed to 7 weeks of vacation each year. So we cover for each other. We make sure we're able to go and do that. So to Joel's point, you might have someone that can fill in that gap for you to get you there, but it might be technology. It might be a vendor. It could be something else that gets you there. But certainly you should, if you're at a certain level and you're bringing someone in maybe as a partner at a certain level, both of you together is just equaling the same number. It's not really a great partnership, right? You need to bring that together with different skill sets or different technologies or whatever that can enhance that can take you from making 1 + 1, 100,000 maybe, up to making 300,000 together instead of 200,000 together. It should be something you can leverage into pretty heavily. But this situation right here usually happens with staff. It usually happens with someone that's on your salary, you hired out of pain, and then all of a sudden you've got a huge decision like, this is horrible. And now I have to fire this person. That's horrible. So we need to watch out for that. And we'll talk about it a little bit more. So these are the 4 things that we're going to talk about today. Doing the right things, obviously always first, people leverage and perspective, getting leverage, acquiring the right talent, and my action plan. So I notoriously over prepare. So I'm going to like pump through and then you guys can answer questions and I'll watch the clock a little bit that way and try and get to the most meaningful things. The packets that you got do have a couple of worksheets that we're going to do and have a little interactive conversation back and forth. So if you didn't get one of those or you don't have a pin, you need to figure that out and grab one because it'll be worth your time to do the worksheets a little bit. Check that out. All right. Okay. Here we go, doing the right thing. So this is talking about your people. Are they doing the right thing for you or doing the right thing? So magnifying your potential income. Do you have people on your team that are doing that for you? Multiplying a force in action to gain advantage, take your business to the next level. So I would say, my opinion is they should be doing all of those things. If you're hiring the right person, they should be doing all of those things to be the right hire. And it might not ultimately start out that way, but you should really have a plan of action and you should explain that to the person that you're bringing on that they need. This is your expectation right here. And if you can't explain your expectation, then you need to work on that personally, but they should be able to understand if I'm bringing you on, number 1, I do want to get to number 3 and I need to take advantage of these different systems. That's your responsibility because I'm not good at it. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to escalate our business in Joel and I's situation here from selling traditional real estate. I really like the development side. I've done it for a long time. I really want to spend more time there. We have some builders we work with. Joel really enjoys that side of it, has a construction management degree, really enjoys that. So dividing our systems to get there. So these are things that you really need to be paying attention to. And if you're not getting these out of your current people, again, right now is the time to look. Like, is it time to cut someone, time to upgrade? Is it time to get someone that will do that position better? And it may, like I said, it may even be a vendor. Quit passing out leads, start passing out appointments. So there's a ton. When we're preparing these, there is more slides than you could ever want to have or more quotes. But I like this one because from a team standpoint or from a group standpoint, passing out leads versus passing out appointments, that kind of hit me as something interesting that I think we should all kind of consider. We love marketing to our clients and farming to our clients and having events and movie theaters and going to the Seven Peaks, doing all this stuff. It's super fun and exciting. And the purpose of that is client retention and to get leads, right? So if we're getting those leads in, someone calls like, hey, I might want to start looking at houses. What are we just saying? Okay, call our lender. Or are we saying, hey, what's a good time for my lender to reach out to you? Let's set that appointment right now and make that happen. Or, hey, I have a house I want to see. Awesome. Instead of, I'm gonna have my buyer's agent reach out to you and see, get you over to that house. Hey, what's a good time for you? What's the date? What's the time? Setting those, while you've got someone on the phone, you should be setting those appointments and putting them out. We deal with a lot in construction with subcontractors, right? Like, hey, I can be out there the next couple of days. Okay, what day, what time? So you should be treating your clients the same way. What day, what time? So as you're kind of going through this, that's when you can kind of stick out there as making sure your strategy is not just passing out the leads to your team or to your sphere of influence that you work with, your lender's title, but actually setting out those appointments. And if they can't fulfill those, you need to work out a system. Any questions on that? No, Peter?
As your team grows, there's this concept of an ISA. So you have an ISA that sets appointments so that your team are going on appointments. That is a particularly difficult position to hire for. And I'd love input at some point from the larger teams that have a good ISA or ISA department, like what they think the secret sauce is to hiring that position. Because on a one-on-one, it's easy. If I set an appointment, I can hand the appointment off to, Angie, and she can fulfill the appointment because I trust her skills in that handoff. But as a team grows, now that means I'm the ISA, right? So as online leads come in, who fulfills that role and what makes them good at what they do?
Okay, I love that. So that's the purpose of us all getting together, right? It's to share ideas, to brainstorm a little bit. So who here feels like they have a handle or has an ISA on their team and would like to answer Peter's question? Because we do not. Inside sales? Yep. So who has one on their team? Who's an admin for a team that has one that would like to give us a 1-minute answer to Peter's question? We have skills here. Does the Wild team not have one? Oh, need to work on that. All right. All right. She's going to podcast. She's going to share knowledge that she's heard. This is secondhand information. So
It
be
is
careful.
totally secondhand information, but it was on Empire Builders and they had a whole podcast on it. And it was just really about making that position an elevated position. Sometimes as we hire that position and we're hiring kind of a newer person or we're hiring somebody, they don't get the same clout on the team, and they actually should get the very best office. They should get the very best benefits. They should get like bowed down to, and your agent should love on them because they're the ones setting appointments. That was the biggest thing that I got from it, to be able to make that position effective.
I love it. And that's, let's just be honest, because it's a very tough role. Like being the phone call person on the phone all the time, trying to convert people to appointments and stuff is horrible. DK.
I have not yet had the courage to hire an ISA, but recently we've done maybe kind of like a hybrid where our admins, because the leads come in at such random times and it may or may not be a good time for sales agent from a speed to lead perspective. So our team admin has been setting appointments when those leads go unclaimed and then kind of passing it off to team members of the team, which it's actually been an improvement for us. It's not necessarily her wheelhouse, but she's fully capable of like setting an appointment with an inbound lead. And it has, I guess one step towards like where we used to be and like an ISA, I guess, kind of.
I like that. So maybe I can lean on that a little bit. Dan, you're saying maybe when you're hiring an admin, if you're going to that step, seeing if they have a comfort level in doing that skill set. So if they have a comfort level, not just in doing tasks, but hey, if I needed you to convert some leads or do some of these tasks that are on an ISA list, how comfortable are you with that? So maybe that's something that as we're condensing our dollars and condensing the market, maybe could be, sounds like Dan hit the golden nugget with that one. But as you're looking to hire, if you're looking to expand, that very well could be the stepping stone to like, I'm going to try this out before I go out and make the full hire, which is smart. So thank you.
Brad. One more thing on that. We tried the ISA route and ended up transitioning her out of that position. But there's a Facebook group called ISA Masterminds Group, and it's run by a Keller agent, I think somewhere back east. There is so much invaluable like data and knowledge in that group that can answer those questions. I would highly recommend it. Her name's Anna Kruger, I think so she says it, but I've been to a lot of panels with her over the years and she's phenomenal. So
One more time, what's the name of that group?
it's ISA Masterminds Group.
Okay.
Anna Kruger.
Perfect. Just so the folks at home can get that one. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So this is an interesting one. Train and coach people to do the right things well. So a lot of these slides, I like added my own stuff to it because they were needing something, in my opinion. Is this the time to be, this is the time to be a great leader coach versus a great leader boss? And I added the why and the what, because I always envision myself like a boss is like telling you what you need to do all the time. What, like, I need you to do this, call this many people. I need you to follow up on these. I need you to show this many homes. It's all, we see it in all of our sheets. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. I think a great leader coach is the why. Like, why are we making those calls? Why are we converting people? Why are we getting people into our business? Why do we care if people come to events? Is the event just to get a lead, or is the event to cultivate a different relationship or a culture? So as you're potentially looking to lean into becoming your own team instead of an individual agent, you can take those things into consideration of, you know, what's your leadership skill set going to be? And there's some people that excel really well at the boss mode, but they usually have someone behind them that's a little softer touch. You're like, hey, I'm sorry you hurt your feelings, but this is really what we need to do and why we need to do it. It's rare that you have someone that's very pointy and very, I need to get it results driven. That's maybe how they work, but it's really hard for them to make that jump over to why we need the results instead of results driven. So as you're kind of thinking through the future of what that looks like for you, hopefully everyone has aspirations to kind of get to that level. And again, as we're going to repeat through this whole thing, this doesn't have to be a leader coach to someone that you hire. This could be your transaction coordinator. This could be your mortgage company. This could be your title. This could be anybody that is in your network that you're working with, letting them know why you expect a certain result, why you expect a certain performance, or, hey, I just want you to call me back. When I call you, just like call me back or text me, let me know you got my message. Don't like assume that, you know, everything's fine. It may not be fine. So as you're working with your strategic alliance members that may be on your teams, which everyone, if you're selling real estate, you have all of that. You have those strategic people. You may want to lean into that a little bit and let them know why you're expecting certain things or why you're doing certain things. Anybody, especially with the team, but anybody have any comments on that?
Bradley. Hey.
Oh, here we go.
So I've been on the, wrong side and right side of hiring. The first assistant that Brad and I hired, I would say we didn't really know what we were doing. We hired out of pain. It was not leverage. It was like, okay, this is the next step that I'm told I'm supposed to take in my business to make me successful. And it just actually bogged my time down because I didn't do number two. I didn't empower that person to actually go and be leverage for me. I still double checked everything they were doing. I felt like my SOI or my clients really wanted to be hearing from me that, my attitude was, I'm going to always do it better than her. And I just needed to let go, empower that person to be successful. And so probably just as much on me as it was on her that we didn't find success in that. When we made the right hire, that person was with us for 5+ years. I empowered her to take the reins. I could leave out of town for 2 weeks and not feel like my business was going to suffer at all. If anything, it was probably going to be better because I was not in the office and she was doing the work for me. But I think it's super important that we empower our partners or our strategic, leverage to be successful, and also to let them fail at times. Sometimes they need to fail to long-term be successful, that they feel the pain of what that feels like to have a client disappointed. And so that's just my 2 cents on that.
Sounds like child raising advice right there. Let them fail a little bit. But yeah, that's exactly right. So we've been through it, like usually anybody that's teaching a class is teaching it because they've been burned a few times in this, and we definitely have. Like Joel mentioned, I have a transaction coordination company. It's great. I love it. We were huge once upon a time, 26 states, lots of transaction coordinators, and then I hated it. And so we brought it down a little bit and still have it, still functions. It's still great. It's what we use for our transaction coordination. But I probably personally couldn't find a way to empower the people that were doing the work because I hated it. And so I probably couldn't figure out a proper way. And that led to my frustration and shrinking the business down a little bit. All right, technology. So adding technology is great, right? But it should be used to set a higher standard of production for yourself and your staff, not be a babysitter. So the reason I put that in there is I feel like sometimes, at least what I hear around the office or I hear from other agents is like, I got in the system and Bob's not calling the people or Jane's not calling the people. I checked the system. And to me, that feels like a huge babysitter, because then your conversation is like, Brad, why are you not calling these people? Like, I looked in the system and your numbers at the bottom of the barrel. You're horrible at doing this thing. And it just feels a little bit like that versus the verbiage that Keller Williams had in here, set a higher standard of production for yourself and your staff. Meaning, if you're going to implement technology, it should be fully accepted by everyone that you work with. They should understand why you're implementing it and what your results are. Meaning, hey, we're going to sit down once a week or once a month, and we're going to print off these graphs. And if you're doing horrible, everyone's going to see that you're doing horrible. If you're doing great, everybody's going to see it, but it's not a surprise. It's nothing that's going to get swept under the rug. It should be used to raise the standard, of what you're doing. And I think you can implement that with the lender. Like, hey, every time I put a lead out to you to get pre-qualified, we're tracking that. We're going to meet on that once a month or once a week, whatever, and see how many people are not able to qualify. And then where are those leads coming from, and so on and so forth, to make sure your money is responsible to you. But yeah, I would just challenge you to not use technology to be that babysitter of being able to be home at 3 o'clock in the morning because you can't sleep because your mind's crazy, and like just get frustrated over this. And then that leads to the conversations that really should be used to benefit, all ships rise with the tide. It should be able to be there to help everybody on your team be better, or find out if it's not a good fit. If you have someone that's just struggling month after month, maybe there's a new position on the team, or maybe they just got to go. Oh, yeah. Awesome. Next thing. So, leverage, people leverage. So the 3 things on here, people, who's going to do it, systems, how will they do it, tools, what are they going to use? And it kind of mentions down here that high achievers, they use it all in concert. Like they know to hit the highest level, it's really going to take all of those things to get you there. You can have a person that's awesome. They're just so ready to make so many phone calls and grind it. But if they're not using your systems and tools, you're eventually going to hate them or dislike them. And eventually they're going to dislike the job. It's just not going to be a good fit. And so same with systems. You might have awesome systems, but if you don't have people to use them, they're useless. And tools like, hey, this is what we're going to do. But you really need to figure out at least 2 of those, if not all 3 of those. And they don't have to be big, expensive systems. They can be systems that your brokerage has that you can use for free at any given time. But really figuring out how to do those things, but understanding that people are the most important form of leverage, because you can have Boomtown or whatever super expensive, crazy stuff. But if you don't have anybody working that or running that system, it's obviously useless. So making sure that people are at the forefront, like Angie said, like, hey, you've got to, whether it's someone that's a virtual agent that you're interacting with, that maybe you're not even paying a ton of money, but letting them know that you appreciate them and that they're going to be the most powerful part of leverage, right? That's any business we look at, biggest businesses out there for the most part, unless they're a SaaS sort of business, they're using people. They're using human beings, human capital to kind of get them to the next level. And we're no different than that. But again, those people, you might be able to get them on if they're a graphics designer, hey, I want you to do this project. I don't need to pay for you to be on my salary. Transaction management, same thing. So power of leverage. Going through the exact same stuff here. How do you know when it's time to add people? And we're going to have a worksheet on that here on the next slide, I think. But I like this right here. you know, which activities bring you joy, and that could be personally or in your business, or which activities make you the most money. And if you're not spending your time on those activities that bring you neither, you need to think about subcontracting. Subcontracting is leveraging. It's the exact same word. So we're going to take a minute. So the first worksheet in here says the power of leverage on it, and it should have these 2 questions I want you to look at. We're going to take maybe 5 minutes, answer those. We're going to take maybe 5 minutes and share some answers on there so we can all kind of learn from each other a little bit and go from there. So ready, go. The way you're doing this, I'd challenge you to at least get 2 or 3 in each one. Don't go really heavy on one side. Like, what brings you joy? Like, try and get a good balance here so we can have a good conversation. All right. I lied. Mez, maybe 3 minutes, 4 minutes. But I see a lot of heads up. I see a lot of texting happening. So I'm going to interrupt your life again. All right. So who would like to share something on the first one? Activities that are the most dollar productive. Thank you, Becca.
I can do it. So your job description as a realtor is appointment and lead conversion. Like that's your highest dollar producing activity.
So does anybody here not understand what that means? Because this would be a good time to understand what that means. Everybody's good. All right. So who else wants to share most dollar productive activity that you feel like if I could do this, and we'll talk about 80-20 rule in a bit, but if I could do this every day, all day, I'd be so rich right now. Like, what is that activity to you, Dan?
For me, it's just calling past clients in my database and just my SOI.
Okay, SOI, I love it. I'm probably the exact same. What else? Let's get two more. All right. Well, I like to feel like a rock star and pack this around, so you got to use that one.
Hey, I can do that. So I kind of have two different job responsibilities. I don't do the traditional real estate work. So one of my is the contract close process, making sure that that's smooth, because that's going to create a better consumer experience, which will hopefully create more referrals. And then on the other side, my 36 touch, the marketing, the emails, all of that stuff that just constantly badgers our people every 12 days.
Okay, I love it. That's awesome. Thank you very much, Angie. Then Brett, I saw you, Brett. Don't think I didn't.
And of course, voice to voice is really good, but the two things for me is my actual money management, looking at my money and making sure I'm spending it wisely and that it's being accounted for properly. That doesn't take long, but is actually huge dollar per hour result. And then coaching and teaching the agents on my team that I get that's a high dollar per hour result that I get from it.
So in that situation, you're pouring in 1 hour, and if you have 5 people on your team, you're getting 5 hours back. I love that. Brett.
So our recipe is always, how do we get more listing appointments? I think personally, if I could go on a listing appointment twice a day, every single day, then I'd probably close most of them, which creates a wake to all the buyers. The marketing, we get more leads from those, and it would trickle down for everybody else. So I don't really like doing listing lead gen, but going on the appointments, it's fun, it's easy. But how do we delegate that so that it just gets served up all the time? You just show up.
I love it. And with that beautiful voice and beautiful face, no wonder you get them all the time, right?
Oh, yes, look at me, please.
So an interesting thing to think about. He brought up the point, like if I go out as the rainmaker to these listing appointments and get them, it creates this wave out to my people. And so this question is going to be different, right? If you're an admin, it may not be dollar productive to you, but to the team, what are you doing as an admin that's creating that same wave that Brett talked about? Like what's clearing the path out or making the life better for the agents on our team? And so that's just something to think about. You don't have to think about it as the rainmaker on the team, but as a buyer's agent, same thing. What do I enjoy? What do I get the most out of the dollar production? And, it might be only working with clients at a certain price point, might be working with people that are only pre-qualified by your preferred lender. But anybody else have anything on that first? David.
Hi, David.
David.
It's one of those ironies that, because your second question is about joy, everybody knows that prospecting is, man, it sets the appointments, it gets you the clients. And anybody who would do it, let's say 2 hours a day, if you did that for a year, you'd be making a lot of money if you really hit it. But it's also one of the hardest activities, and it's probably doesn't bring people joy. It's difficult. So it's kind of a catch-22. But if you can have some delayed gratification and joy, the money will come going through prospecting.
So I love that. So you mentioned some gratification in that, meaning maybe as you're doing it, there's some sort of a reward along the way instead of just grinding it out and getting there, some sort of joy to be able to put up with the pain, because a lot of the things that we do can create the most amount of pain. Like I have a friend that he cleans most of the like Home Depots and Lowe's, like janitorial service stuff from Brazil, came here. One of these stories didn't really have anything. And he was just in trying to get business. And he was in there and he's like, this lady just came and passed the manager I was talking to, threw up all the way to the bathroom. And I said, hey, just a minute, and went and cleaned it up, because it's not a single employee in that building is something they wanted to do. And so he, from there, got that and built a very successful business, lives a nice lifestyle, but he was willing to do what other people don't want to do. To David's point, prospecting, it's horrible, right? Like your SOI is a little better, like if you're calling people that you're really truly friends with, but Past clients, oh, it's been like 4 months. Hey, how's the kids? It's just a difficult conversation unless you're real. I suck at it, so I don't do it. But for those that are good at it, it's great. All right, let's do 3 on joy really quick. What brings you joy to your life in real estate specifically? We have a bunch. Oh, very back. I want to hear from him because it's going to be awesome.
I don't know about that.
Bro, come on. It's going to be awesome.
All right, dude. Brad about wrung my neck every time I said, dude, I'm pretty sure we went through a grinding phase. I don't know. I still can't kick it. So it's a failed effort, but anyways, the biggest fulfillment that I get, there's really 2, but I like to connect and network. And it's like real estate's been a good avenue, and it's gotten me in rooms where I sit in the room. I'm like, holy shit, how did I get here? You know what I'm saying? Like, I shouldn't be here. I have like an imposter syndrome. You know what I'm saying? So I love the opportunity that it presents, and it gets me in the doors and these opportunities that I literally never would ever, you know, in my entire life if I didn't do this. And it just forces me to get in front of people and do what I love to do, and that's connect and network. And so for me, it's you know, real estate's been the vehicle that's really seriously more than 10x my life, you know, just because of that. And so just the doors that it's opened. And then also another one that I thought was pretty cool was, I deal with a lot of investors, but this one on the primary side, getting people that, you know, being an advocate for people that truly, you know, need to have that, you know, us in their lives. Like I had a kid that had $5,000 in the bank. We got him a house, and now he's buying house number 2 in the first year. Like, are you kidding me? Started with $5,000 and now he's getting 2 houses in under a year. I'm like, that's just bonkers to me. So I'm just saying, like, he had no chance. He would have no chance. You know what I'm saying? So having those opportunities are just so cool. And to be the advocate for people, I get a lot of fulfillment from that. And then also connecting and networking. So those 2 things combined together give me that fulfillment. And that's where I'm pretty lethal.
And I love that. And that kind of goes back to the beginning, do the right things, right? Like with some of our clients, they're going to be a pain. They're going to be difficult. Some of them are like, this guy wants to buy like this really cheap house and I don't know about his credit score or whatever, but some of those opportunities you're going to have will be the most fulfilling. Like, I can't believe I got this kid into a house for $5,000. He's buying a second one and I've 10x'd his net worth off one house. And you know, you can change someone's trajectory of their life truly in the business that we do. So if you can find joy, like Brody's saying in that, that's a benchmark for sure. Anybody else? Yep.
I like problem solving here. I like, you know, the fact that I've been in the real estate business so long that I understand a lot of things that most people don't. And I can look at a problem and come up with solutions that, you know, most people have no clue that you can even do that, you know, and then you're changing people's lives because of that type of thing here.
How many years were you California agent for a long time, right?
Yeah.
You're right. How many years?
I was five years.
Yeah. So if he's done real estate in 5 years, he can probably answer any question that we have.
But it's one of those things where, you know, you come up with specific strategies and you try to then apply those and maybe turn those into systems at that point in time, so that if it helped one person, then that same strategy might start helping other people. And if you can systematize that, put it into marketing, then it would take off, I would think.
Yep, absolutely. So if you see a constant problem and you can find a solution for that problem, you may be able to attract people to it. So it's interesting you say that. So back in the 2008 recession, like the market was slow. So I got into doing short sales. So we did thousands and thousands of short sales, hired people. We were doing them in different states. It was awesome. Once that dried up, I'm like, oh, I still have a lot of talent that was doing these short sales, and agents are doing more transactions. And that birthed the transaction coordination company because the systems were in place. The past clients, which are agents, were happy. And that kind of led to that. So yeah, I definitely agree with that. Anybody else before we move on? All right. By the way, I love it. It was so quiet. We could hear that furnace cranking during that last thing. Okay, here we go. This is the scary step. This is the one right here to go from I did it to we do it. So as you begin to change the way you view your business, you have to change the way you run your business, right? So this is a little small, so I'll read it. This is one I just clipped and put in there, but it's if you guys download the packet that is sent out each week, it has this information in here, but really, you know, you did it all. The work is divided up. Your vision of your business is in your head. Now you have to communicate your vision. You didn't need job descriptions at all. You did it all. Now you need 2 or more. You answered you. so on and so forth. So as you're moving into that realm, you have to change your mindset, and it is difficult. For those that have went from solo agent to team, it takes a lot of work. Like Joel's saying, in Joel's situation, our gal was probably setting an appointment. Joel's probably calling, hey, she set that appointment up. Like just having that trust that that person is going to do that. And maybe that person wasn't the right person that we trusted fully. But the last admin, Megan, that we had for a long time, she was great. And we, fully trusted her. She did a lot more than just administrative stuff for her, help cut checks, do different things that way. So as you're moving to that next mindset of where you want your business to be, or even just thinking 5-year, Joel and I have 3-year, 5-year, 10-year plans that we coach on with our coach twice a month. So feel free to have those things out ahead of you of what they're going to look like and what you want the future to present to you. But if you are looking down this path, be prepared to make some changes. That's a little flow chart. So start thinking about your team. Not just like we've talked about, not just the people that you employ, but your whole circle of influence, the lender's titles, your guy that changes your oil, whatever it is, who can be in my influence that can bring me transactions? Who can I work with that's going to help me grow my business in a positive way? Who do I want to be connected with? Because I promise you, there's people that will want to work with you that you're not going to want to have connected to your business. That may tarnish your reputation if you have a great reputation, or, hey, I've been hooked with this person. Oh, they found a better deal. They moved over and I just lost 30% of my business or 40% of my business. Or, hey, I'm getting leads from some online Zillow source or something, and those are 3 times more expensive now. And so I'm not profitable on that venture or whatever. So you need to start thinking about that and how people in your life can help you achieve the goals that you're wanting to get. And it's the people, spouses, partners, family, friends, agents, vendors. It doesn't have to be people that are on your payroll or that you're personally responsible for, but like service providers, back to the oil change guy, you may be able to go to probably not a national firm, but maybe a local guy you've been using for 10 or 20 years, oil change, does a great job, super good guy or girl. Like, hey, I'd like to work with you on my marketing. Would you be willing to do like $5 off an oil change if I send this out to my whole sphere of influence and say, hey, if you come to Bob's oil change place, he's awesome. I've used him since I was whatever age. Would you be willing to give my people $5 off if they come to your store? That'd be a value for my people and it would get people in your door. Yes. Okay. If you're willing to do that, can I have your people? Can we market it together? Like, hey, everyone that you have and everyone that I have, can we leverage those people to come and get $5 off? And I just want to put my name on it and put a little bit of information there. So people that you work with all the time can be massive advocates. They have their own sphere of influence, their clients, their people that you can leverage into. And someone like that might have tens of thousands of people that they've never even thought about approaching and stuff. So as you move into this, you can be thinking about ways that people can support you in the decisions that you're making, to support you in keeping you accountable. Scope. All right, leverage. So I think this is the third one, hopefully. Okay, so same thing, contact with people, allied resources, people that can help you build, sustain, and improve your business. Okay, so subcontract your way up. So again, not people that you have, but people that you may subcontract out to that can help you build up your business or your personal life, whatever it may be that way. But there's very creative ways, and this is a good opportunity or a good sphere or people at your brokerage to be able to do this. Becca, do you have something?
Yeah. So this is one that we've used quite a bit for hiring, is using your people in your world to say, hey, I'm hiring. Who do you know? Because I think that's one of the hardest pieces is you can only go so far within your own network, but when you ask other networks, they can connect you.
Absolutely. Because you may have someone in another network, i.e., let's just say title, like they've been with this like 8 years and they love it, but they've just always wanted to do real estate, but they've got 8 years of experience doing title stuff. This is awesome. They would be a fantastic fit. Now I just need to see what their skill set is. Fantastic fit for buyer's agent, listing agent, admin, ISA. What are they going to be a good lead for? But I agree with that wholeheartedly, because talent wants to be talent. They want to go to the next level when they can. They want to be in their field, and talent recognizes when they're not happy in their job, which we'll get to in here, kind of behavioral aspects of your employee, what it looks like. But just take time, focus on this. There's I think 1 or 2 spreadsheets or worksheets for this in the packet that you can kind of dive a little bit deeper into. So let's get some brainstorming going here. Where do you find people outside of what Becca said? Where can you find people looking for part-time, per transaction, short-term assignments? Where can you get those people? Let's get 5 ideas. Peter.
So something that we did recently is Josh hired a marketing intern. So this person was getting ready to graduate from BYU with a degree in marketing, and we hired her part-time, and we did a 1-3-5 with her, came up with all these things. She's knocked it out. She's done with her 1-3-5, and we're only in August. And so now we're like, I guess we have to come up with more stuff for her to do. You know, so she's
for more hours because
Yeah.
I could use a few
so
hours.
now
Talent wants to be talent. They're
we're
going to push
actually-
themselves.
Well, no, this is talent.
I'm
Talent.
just talking leverage. We can
Yeah.
see what.
Yeah, but the talent pushes you. If you hire talent, they push you to be better. So now she's like, well, let's take everyone's personal Facebook pages. I'm going to audit them and say, let's make your personal Facebook page better so that it comes across more professional. And we're following the 80-20 rule when it comes to you're posting daily personal stuff and then maybe once a week real estate stuff, you know? So yeah, that's cool.
I found her on LinkedIn. I find
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn is
Looking for an internship.
a great place. And also I contacted multiple colleges.
Okay, so I'm just repeating it for the people at home, but like, yeah, you reached out to all the colleges, looked around, and that's actually one of the things in the list of where to find people is that internship or people looking for a career change or looking to, hey, I'm going from here and I'm starting to freelance, but I need to have something in my portfolio. I need to start having some flyers done or websites done or different things that way. So I'll do it for free if you'll let me do it because they need to build their platform to kind of go up from there. Peter again.
And we did use the KPA process. So the in-house Keller KPA process where they go through multiple interviews. I was like, man, it's just a part-time. It's just an intern. We don't need to do it, but we did it. And that's been very valuable because it helped us eliminate candidates that would have been good, hired the perfect candidate. And then it's probably a track where she might be able to become full-time. Yeah.
Perfect. I don't want it to be lost. What Angie said is if you have someone you're like, that person is amazing, but I cannot afford them, for sure. Look, if you don't want to lose them, figure out a way to offset the cost. You might have, okay, I've got this person I want to be a full-time buyer's agent, but I don't have enough work. We see it every day. Hey, show home $50, show home $50, figure out some way to make that work. And you can talk to agents in the office that have teams and stuff and like, hey, this is a person I really want. I'm trying to figure out how to make this work. But if you can share in the cost, that's definitely a way to cut costs. All right. Virtual assistants, we'll quickly go through this, but bigger than ever. It was kind of really difficult. Maybe 10 years ago, you didn't know what you're getting with a VA, like whether they were there today, gone tomorrow, whatever. But now there's really strong businesses that provide virtual assistants for us that are not here in the United States that do amazing work and have amazing backgrounds and are willing to do it for much less. And those are the same. You don't have to hire them full time. You're like, hey, I need 20 hours worth of work done. You can just hire them for whatever amount of work you need. So that's something you could kind of look into as well. All right. I don't know that we'll have time to do this worksheet, but this is in there. Let me get to it. So yeah, look at this and go through this. I'm trying to see, I don't know if I have it in here, but basically asking the question, yeah, the next sheet, are you ready to subcontract your people? Are you willing to muscle in and ask for people's help to be able to subcontract out or bring in those strategic alliances to help you grow your business? Why or why not? Is your business sales volume budget ready to support the system? If not, like we just talked about, find someone else that's willing to share that cost with you. Which tasks will you look to contract out? Meaning, like Joel said, we go through a thing called loathe and love. We go through it and like, oh man, I just hate doing that is the very worst. And sometimes there's stuff that I really hate that Joel enjoys. And there's stuff like I hate reading CC&Rs and I hate reading documents. Joel's really good at it. Joel, there's things that he dislikes that I really like, spreadsheets, stuff like that. So finding out what you want to subcontract out. And then the bottom one there can help you address these needs. All right, next step. So here's a Gary Keller quote. Joel and I talk about this all the time, right? First leads, then income, then help. We call this leading with revenue. It's a smart business. It is a smart business. If you're looking to bring someone on, you can't figure out how they are going to create this or time, revenue or time for you, don't do it. It's not worth it. You're just throwing your money away. If you're not getting your time back or you're not getting additional revenue out of it, not worth it. Don't worry about it. Another worksheet that you guys can do later. Told you I'd have too much stuff, but this kind of talks about what you're looking for in a hire. And again, same thing. I think all these things need to be on that person. When you're looking at these things, they could be smart and intelligent, and awesome, but if they're not motivated, or especially if they're not ethical, they're not a good hire, right? So you need to make sure that as you're going through those things, that you should be hitting all of those before they come into your team, even before they come into an interview, as you're calling their previous employers, stuff like that. All right, take stock of what you got. Essential attributes, very similar, right? Willingness to follow your systems. You might have someone that's just a beast on the phone. You might have Brody back there killing it, just making it happen, but he's not good at the systems. That's a headache. That's a pain. You're going to have to be following up with that all the time. And I shouldn't say Brody, I should say Brad. Brody is trainable and into mastery. So, but you need, same thing. These are in the slides. You can see it, but you should be hitting all of those things with every person that's on your group. Okay, here. Again, questions on there. We should probably hit on these. What do you want from your business? What do you want from the people that you're aligning with? What do you have now? What would you replace if you had a better resource? Oh, my admin's not great. Might have to replace it with a better admin or a virtual admin or a transaction coordinator, or my buyer's agent's awesome, but they're always an hour late. If that's striking you as not working for your level of your business, you may have to find a better buyer's agent. And that could be with anything. Your lender, my lender's pretty good. He's pretty good. There's lots of lenders that are really, really good. Same with title. So these are questions you should be asking yourself, dialing in all the time. I recommend having a coach. Our coach is a business coach as well. That just keeps us, we have weekly, monthly, yearly, 3-year, 5-year, like we are just dialed in all the time on that, and finances. So you should have all of this stuff where you need to have it. Okay, this is an insert. This is what I was talking about, job behavioral discomfort. And so in the thing here, I just want to hit on a couple of the attributes because it talks about some telltale signs of what may lead to that. So if you've got someone in there that is having discomfort, you're going to notice it's says 35 at the top, but fatigue, fear, stress, depression, frustration, anxiety. So if you've got someone you're working with and these things keep coming up and coming up and coming up, you might have someone that doesn't dare tell you that they're not happy or doesn't dare tell you that they want to quit their job because it's not the right fit. But these are some telltale signs you can watch for and have that conversation, have that meeting where like, hey, what's going on? Like, why are you missing work a little more often? Or like, you just seem like you're down the last couple of weeks, like what's happening? And hopefully those things can kind of come to the surface. So lastly, at the end of this packet, have 80-20. So I told you I'd have too much stuff. So 80-20 rule and then action plan. So at the very last of it's action plan. I would definitely encourage you to take the time to do it. It's like 4 or 5 pages, but don't like put it in your desk. Don't throw it away. Don't do anything. It has a lot of serious questions in it. They're going to help you dive deep into your business. I was looking through it, preparing for this. I'm like, oh man, I actually need to do this personally and go through it because it's just sharpening the pencil. It's just making your business model better. It's making your business better. Your clients are going to be happier. You're going to be happier. It's just going to help you self-discover some things that'll help you do that. So that's the end. We're probably got about 4 or 5 minutes for Q&A.
Actually just have a question and comment as well. So for like solo agents, I'm a solo agent, and if you're in the beginning of your career, what would be the first 2 things that you would seek to leverage? I have 2 in mind, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, so I think for me personally, and I think generally speaking, is the paperwork side of things. Get yourself a transaction coordinator or a significant other, a spouse, or someone that likes to do the paperwork, but that's you're not making your most amount of money per hour doing paperwork, ordering home inspections, ordering photos, doing these different things. So anything on the clerical side, I think that you can offload is the first thing. And then the second thing is based on how your business is. Everybody says buyer's agent, but if your business is built heavy on the listing side, it might be a listing specialist, like that's really the person that's going there, depending on if you're converting the buyer leads or if you're referring them out. But that's what I would say.
Oh, one more thing. Do you consider a coach to be a form of leverage when it comes to thinking out your business plan and your growth strategy and your accountability?
So yeah, so our coach, like I said, it's a little bit different. It's not like a MAPS. She's not a MAPS coach. She's here all the time. Caprice Gun. She comes down and she's opened every Keller Williams, I think in Utah, but 2. But she's very good at business coaching through the different things that you may have, finances and accountability. But I personally think, yes, having a coach that is not just going to challenge you on the real estate side, but getting a coach that can push you to where do you want to be in 1 month, 1 year, 3 years, 5 years? What does that look like? How much money do you want to make? How much time do you want to have left over? So we call it bulletproofing, because in our line of work, Joel and I have $30 million in debt at any given time. And that's super scary. And so we have to bulletproof every aspect, our cash, our business, everything that we have going on. So if there's a glitch in the market, I don't know, higher interest rates and things slow down or something like that, we're not freaking out and selling stuff off and making poor decisions. And so having a coach that can help get you to that point where you're like, hey, if this gets a little shaky, everything else over here is still good. Instead of like, oh, man, I was doing 1 deal a month. This deal failed. I don't have enough money to make my house payment. I got to sell my car, buy a cheap car, whatever it may be. So yeah. What else? We got a lot of people who have been around a long time, probably have a lot of wisdom. David. Here. It's sweaty.
I want to reemphasize coaching, because for most people, you're not really going to move beyond probably yourself, most agents. And, I have this phrase where you say you want to become the agent that everyone wants to hire. And that becoming aspect takes time and practice and focus. Many people who become agents may or may not have gone to college, but they definitely didn't learn and know the business prior. So there's so much you have to learn, and a coach can cut that time in a large part, probably more than half. And what they're afraid of is investing in that. I don't want to pay whatever it is. Well, you guys got a lot of free training here. Well, this place should be packed, but you have to learn, and there's so many, we call pro tips here today. So just keep learning, because it's a process, but you will, if you improve 1% a week over a year, that's going to make significant differences in your business to progress forward. So I highly recommend getting around people that can help you. I mean, it's funny, like somebody has the question, well, where do I get my business cards? What kind of website should I use? And a coach can just like cut through that really fast and save you 10 hours of research on Google over that. So go for it.
I'm just going to make one quick comment. I would say the biggest thing that coaching does for me is I'm able to verbalize my thoughts, to someone. And sometimes just even having those conversations with somebody, I'm like, man, this sounds stupid, just even coming out of my mouth. Like, I'm going to take it off the list. I'm not going to focus on it anymore. Versus if I'm just thinking about it in my head and I haven't had a chance to really talk through it with somebody, I might spend months and a lot of money chasing down something I thought was a good idea and ultimately waste a lot of time and money. And so that's something I've found to be very beneficial. And the other thing is, most of us are business owners in this room. We don't really have anyone to hold us accountable. I have a business partner that holds me accountable, but if you have a coach that you're, verbalizing those goals, writing them down, there's so many times that I've maybe gone off the path of what my goals are temporarily. And she'll say, hey, how does that align with these goals that you've set? And it just reminds me and helps me to hold me accountable to the bigger vision, because it's super easy to get distracted in this industry, especially with social media, seeing like, oh, this person's finding success in this aspect of business. I'm going to go and chase it. But it's, it's distracting. And so it just helps to keep you accountable to those goals and your vision.
Thank you, gentlemen. I love it. Anybody else? This is what it's all about right here, is just passing out these words of wisdom, getting it out there, things that kind of sink in up here and can resonate, not that are coming off slides up here. These are just, the reason we do this is strictly to get your mind thinking, right? You're not going to remember, probably don't remember the very first slide. Even right now, we're in the class, but it's the little things that you're going to take out of each class that you come to, like, Joel and even talk about it with family reunion. We go there, we are literally looking for the one thing that we can take away from it. There's so much stuff there. So when you're coming here, don't feel like overwhelmed. Don't feel stressed out. Like, I got so much stuff I got to do. I got to figure all this stuff out. No, you just need to take one thing and get better at it. Come to the next class or go to the next continuing education, whatever you're going to do, and focus on that. So when people are telling us stuff here that's worked for their business, that's really important information. They probably spent tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars of pain to try and figure out. And so those should be things that we're jotting down and taking notice of. So, but the pizza smells awesome. Who's our sponsor? Keller Williams, let's food. All right, let's give it up. So we've got pizza back there. We got waters back there. It smells delicious. Nobody's going right in right now. She's my favorite person in the whole world outside of my wife, so in case she's watching. So thank you everybody for coming. I appreciate it, and go get some food.